So we'll solve for letter B, which is the sinking fund formula at 12%. So D is equal to C sub O minus C sub N times A over F, comma 12%, comma 10 is equal to 320,000 pesos times 0.05698416. So kaning the functional notation A over F, comma 12%, comma 10, it is we will going to use the uniform series sinking fund nga formula, which is katong A is equal to F times I over 1 plus I n minus 1 in order to get the kaninga answer 0.05698416. So after that, we're going to multiply 320,000 pesos times 0.05698416 and we'll get the total of 18,234.93 pesos. So let's solve for D sub M. So D times the functional notation F over A, comma 12%, comma M. So ang ato ang D is 18,234.93 times the formula for F over A, comma 12%, comma M, which is the uniform series compound amount. We're going to use this 1 plus I raised to the power of M minus 1 over I. So 18,234.93 pesos times 1.12 raised to the power of M minus 1 over 0.12. So from the above equation, the accrued depreciation for each year are as follows. So kani siya is step-by-step formula na ni siya. Do ginagamit ang every year. So mauna na siya ang mauna ni siya ang formula, and then at the end of the mabalik lang gihapon siya sa 320,000 pesos. So this is the depreciation schedule for sinking fund formula, which is I is equal to 12%. So mao lang gihapon, present lang gihapon ang year, book value at beginning of the year, accrued depreciation, book value at the end of the year. So ang book value at the beginning of the year is 370,000. So ang accrued nga depreciation, so diri sa above nga above ani nga table for depreciation schedule, makita na to mo ni silang mga accrued depreciation, and then i-minus lang nato siya. So i-minus nato ang book value at the beginning of the year sa accrued depreciation, then makuha na nato ang book value at the end of the year. So for Matheson formula, so the given so nana diri ang given. So we will going to solve for K. K is equal to 1 minus n square root of C sub n over C sub O is equal to 1 minus 10 square root of 50,000 over 370,000 is equal to 1 minus 0.8186 is equal to 0.1814. So mao niya nga to ang K, 0.1814. So this is the depreciation schedule for Matheson formula. So mo ni siya sa year, book value at beginning of year, then the depreciation during year, K times the C sub M. So mo na siya. And then ang book value at the end of the year is minus nato ang C sub M sa kaning depreciation during year. So that is the depreciation schedule for Matheson formula. Next is for the SYD method. So the summation of years is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3, so on and so forth, up to equal to 55. So C sub O minus C sub N is equal to 320,000. So this is the depreciation schedule for SYD method. So year, mo na siya, book value at the beginning of the year, and then the factor, and the 10 over 55, 9 over 55, and so on. Next is the depreciation during the year. So factor times the total of the C sub O minus C sub N. So, and then the last row is the book value at the end of the year. So, mano na siya ang depreciation schedule for the SYD method. So, for the next sample problem, we will going to solve this using the service output or the production units method. So, this is the sample problem. An asphalt and aggregate mixing plant having a capacity of 50 cubic meter every hour costs 2,500,000. It is estimated to process 800,000 cubic meter during its life. During a certain year, it processed 60,000 cubic meters. If its scrap value is 100,000 pesos, determine the total depreciation during the year and the depreciation cost chargeable to each batch of 50 cubic meters using the production units method. So, mao ni siya ang solution. First, we will going to input the given. So, the first cost is 2,500,000 pesos. The salvage value is 100,000. And the total units output is equal to 800,000 cubic meters. So, resolved for the D sub 1, or D sub 1 is equal to depreciation cost over cubic meters is equal to C sub O minus C sub N over T is equal to 2,400,000 pesos over 800,000. So, is equal to 3 pesos per cubic meter. For the year when 60,000 cubic meters were processed, so D is equal to the total depreciation is equal to 60,000 cubic meters times 3 pesos is equal to 180,000. So, for each 50 cubic meters batch, D is equal to 50 times 50 cubic meters times 3 pesos is equal to 150 pesos.
So another properties of the different method is the straight line plus average interest formula. So it is an approximate method because it is adds and subtracts amounts which do not occur at the same period in time. The method closely approximates the true equivalent annual cost and a certain cost by a poor approximation in others. The recovery of the capital is on a straight line basis, that is an equal amount is recovered each year. Depreciation cost computed by this method is low, so expected na pag magamit tani na method, so ato yung depreciation cost is low. However, the error is considered when the rate of interest is high and the life period low. So ato ang interest rate, error siya if high siya or high the life period of loan. So for this method, it is assumed that the amount of the capital recovered each year is a straight line basis. So ato makita sa ato graphical presentation payments by the straight line method. So dala makita na to. So the investment is recovered each year by the amount equal to C sub O, which is our original or first cost of property minus to C sub N, or our book value at the end of the life. Thus, the annual interest charges are not equal. So, ato ang annual charges are not equal. So, first we have to determine our average annual interest cost para makuha ang ato ang equal cost. So, next is diri na to makita ng mga nakaderive na average interest formula. So, first is the interest paid at the end of the first year. So, kani siya, mano siya ang first term in which the right member of the formula present the recovery of the capital. And the second is kani interest paid at the end of the last year, and which is the second term, the interest on the part of the investment which depreciates. And last is kaning the average of this interest as the last term on the part of the capital which does not depreciate the salvage value, but thus the annual cost or our AC as the sum of the annual depreciation plus the average interest. So, dara makita na to ang iyang formula na ginagamit by this method. So, next is another na pod na different method which is the double rate declining balance method. So, the depreciation cost in any year is a constant ratio of the book value at the beginning of the year. The book value for this method can never become zero. So, the salvage value, if any, does not enter into the computation. So, our kanina method is a mix of the straight line and diminishing value method. So, kaya ang depreciation ani nga method kaya charge siya for the reduced value of the fixed asset on the beginning the year under na kanina method. Then, their rate of depreciation is twice the rate charged under the straight line method. Kaya, ang kanina method leads to an over-depreciated asset at the end of its useful life has converted to the anticipated salvage value. So, in this method, the depreciation during any year is a constant ratio of the book value at the beginning of the year. If the useful life is n, which is the years, and the straight line rate is 1 over n, and the double rate declining balance rate is 2 over n then the depreciation change is computed by multiplying the amortizing value at the beginning of each year by the 2 over n. So, consequently, the salvage value is not used in the computation. So, dara makita na to sa figure na ang book value at the end of the year is calculated as. So, dara, C sub 1 is equal to C sub O minus C sub O times 2 over n equals to C sub O minus 1 minus 2 over n. Then, sa C sub 2 na po, kay C sub 2 equals to C sub 1 minus C sub 1 times 2 over n is equal to C sub 1 open parentheses with 1 minus 2 over n close parentheses and equal to C sub O open parentheses with a 1 minus 2 over n and close parentheses squared. So, patuloy lang na hantod sa makuha na to si CM which is equal to C sub O my open parentheses minus 2 over n close parentheses to the power of n. Then the depreciation expenses is any year which is nagstand sa m is 2 over n and times the book value at the beginning of year m. So depreciation expenses in year m is equal to C sub m minus 1 is times 2 over n is equal to C sub O open parentheses minus 1 minus 2 over n square to the power of m minus 1 times 2 over n is equal to 2 sub O over n is times to 1 minus 2 over n to the power of m minus 1. So, yeah. Mao na siya ang gamiton if atong method na gamiton is the double rate declining balance method. So, mao na siya. So, another method na po na gamiton sa depreciation kay ang the operating day method. So, where the operating day method, it is limited sa mga asset na ang primary cost of depreciation is used related wear and tear. Then the number of units produced each day will determine the daily depreciation cost. So the greater the production, the higher the depreciation cost will be. So this method can be considered an extension of the service output method, which is the report ni Freah, which is applied on the annual basis. Then another na pod kay ang the retirement method. So, retirement method, when a property is sold or replaced, the investment account is changed. At this point, the asset entire initial book value is removed from the capital account. So this account is deducted from the salvage value and applied to the current expenses. Throughout the requirement like spam, all costs incurred all costs and required for the maintenance of the replacement of worn out components are changed directly to the current expenses and are never included in the capital account.